afternoon. Okay, I think this is working. Sound levels look okay and stuff like that. So, it's been a wee while, like a week. It's about a week since I last ran this up and did anything. It's been a kind of busy week, in a good way. Interviews and all that kind of stuff and everything, and got an offer and accepted and been doing the paperwork and all that kind of stuff and everything. So yeah, I haven't been doing much in the way of personal coding. A little bit. I've been doing a little bit, and I started mucking about with... I don't even know what made me do it, but I was reading something in passing the other day, probably on Fosterdon or something, and someone had mentioned Ollama, and it's like, oh, do you know what? I still haven't played with that. Kind of the whole large language model thing and everything is something I've not really mucked about with too much. So I kind of got to thinking, how easy is it to slap that sort of thing on your machine? And I have a nice little Mac Mini M2 Pro, plenty of memory in it and all that kind of stuff sat on the desk in front of me. So I thought, well, I've got a machine that's meaty enough to run that kind of thing. I should have a muck about. So I installed it, had a little muck about, had some fun, and then got to thinking, well, is there a async library for Python, client library for it? Because I could have been tempted to write one myself, but unsurprisingly someone's already done that. So I then got to thinking, oh, what if I then write a terminal based client for it? Not that no one has done any kind of terminal based client for large language models. They exist. People have even done them in with Textual. I mean, Darren's one, whose name always escapes me, which I think currently works mostly with ChatGPT and that kind of thing. That exists. So I'm doing this not because I think the world needs yet another client for any of this kind of stuff. It's more just I wanted to bang on some code and everything. So I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do in this session. I think I have a vague idea of what I want to play with. If I go over to the code... So, I should pull over a terminal window. Also, let me just do a thing. Let's do that, because we need the back end for it. And there we go. So yeah, I've just been playing with the idea of making something that's nice and simple and straightforward. Doesn't have a really fancy user interface. I probably will add some more stuff to it. And again, I stress this is something I'm doing not as a tool that I think people are going to want to use. I'm doing it as a muck about learning exercise for myself, so... Oh, good God, cat type. So, it's, as I say, it's quite simple and straightforward and things like that. It's taking a while. There we go. It's booting up kind of thing. So what I've got going here is pretty simple. I'm not even going to bother looking at how... oh, funny enough, it picked out Winchester as a place in Hampshire, which is very close to where I used to live. And I also used to live very close to Dalkeith as well, up here, which is funny. So yeah, it's simple, straightforward. You type your stuff in, you get your answers up there, and that's about as far as it goes. What I started thinking about yesterday was I should probably add some kind of persistence to it. The actual code itself... and I think it's a testament to the client library that I was mucking about with, but also a testament to how easy it is to get stuff working in Textual itself. That's the meat of it. That's pretty much the client for this large language model front end kind of thing. And I quite like that it's that straightforward. There's lots of things this could do that it doesn't do at the moment. One of the obvious ones is I'm just working with one particular model, and it would make sense that you can choose what model you're working with. going even further, I haven't dived too deeply into how Ollama works and all the tools surrounding it and everything. So there would be scope for having a little interface where you can pull new models, I think is the terminology, that kind of thing. But at the moment I'm just working with the one that I've got thrown on this machine, which is Llama 3, which I gather is actually very new. Again, it's the kind of thing that I haven't paid much attention to. I just wanted a toy project to mess with. So what I'm thinking is, the thing I want to tinker with is, if I close this down and start it up again, it's gone. My my conversation's not there anymore, that kind of thing. Like hardly a surprise. And so I was toying with the idea of making it, making the current making the current conversation persistent. Over time, it would make sense to follow the lead of plenty of other clients, where you can have multiple conversations that you can dive back in and out of, and all that kind of stuff. I'm sure that's kind of something I'll add to this at some point. Again, stressing the fact that this is just a personal doodle project. It's not my intention to write something that's going to be useful and general purpose and competes with anything else that's out there. As I say, there's some great clients, there's some great terminal clients out there. Purely a pet project to actually understand how this stuff works. So in anticipation of that, what is this? I added a couple of things yesterday for hanging on to the raw text. So I'm basically using a markdown widget for showing the responses from the agent, which you can kind of see here. When I'm about to process an input, I throw in, I mount whatever it is that the user actually typed. I then create a agent widget, which is basically a markdown widget. Sorry about that. Mount that into the vertical scroll and then add to it, so it gives that nice ticker tape effect as the stuff comes through and everything, as the reply streams in. But one of the problems, it's not really intended to do that, but one of the issues, shall we say, with Textual's Markdown is it doesn't hang on to the raw document. It kind of does, but it only really hangs on to the raw document as was recorded when you instantiate the Markdown. So because it doesn't want to start building up all the widgets and everything that actually display a Markdown document until you're in the compose phase of your of the building of your DOM, you don't want to be doing that in the dunder init. It stores off the raw text, the raw document as it were, and then uses it later. But if you then do an update on the Markdown, it doesn't kind of update the internal raw document. It doesn't need to. It's kind of unnecessary. So literally all I've done here is I've just overridden update, and I just store whatever the Markdown was in the underscore Markdown property attribute, whatever you would call it, which is not really being used anymore, but then I can use it for getting back at the raw text. That's my thinking. So my idea is going to be that I'm going to store a JSON document somewhere, maybe, or something like that. So the next time you run up, you can get back to the new the previous conversation. I may then end up doing some commands. Where am I? I've lost track of where I am. There we are. I am thinking, like you could do something like that. Have a exclamation mark, a set of exclamation mark commands, or actually maybe slash, that kind of thing. Actually, maybe slash, such that very quickly from the command line you'll be able to actually start typing stuff in there. it would have made sense to use autocomplete for some of that sort of stuff. But I'm not using an input down here. I'm actually sneakily, it looks a bit like an input, but sneakily I'm actually using a text area because I want people to be able to do this kind of thing, type some more, because you might want to ask a question, paste some code, that kind of thing, or whatever. So this input area actually, it grows so far. I got it set so it grows about 25%. I think, is that 25%? If I squint, it looks about 25%. I think I got it set to about 25%. So it kind of, grows up and then squishes down again and everything. And that was actually really straightforward to do. Can't even remember where I put the... Where did I put it? Somewhere. Oh, it's in the input. There. So the user input widget is basically just a text area with a couple of other things. Because I'm using enter as the submit, you can't do a new line, essentially. So at the moment, I've just got this thing where if you hit insert or Control V, it does a sort of soft enter. So rather than actually posting your result, because I'm overriding the on key thing here and saying if it's enter, actually post the text from the text area, so it can then be processed and all that kind of stuff. Which means that you can't use enter to do new lines, and it would have been nice if I could have used shift enter, but of course terminals being terminals, that's not that straightforward. So at the moment I'm using like insert and also Control V. I'll settle on something a little bit more sensible, maybe. We'll see at some point. I'll see how that goes. So that's pretty much where it's at. So I suppose the first thing I want is... Where's my... I can never remember. Let's just have some... There we go. Try again. I'm trying to remember which... That's the one. XDG based as... Oh, why am I signed out? That's strange. I think I'm going to want this, but I also seem to remember this is the non-deprecated one. I think this is a non-deprecated one. For some reason, they renamed this library, but also then made it so I seem to remember it was Python 3.10 or greater for reasons. And I dived into the code, and there's not really a great reason as to why it has to be that. Just trying to find, there was an issue that mentioned it, the reasoning and all that kind of stuff. That's it there, I think. Yeah, there was some stuff about like union types and all that kind of stuff, which doesn't quite make sense to me. I'm not really going to go blundering and telling some maintainer how to maintain their thing, but like that's doable in versions of Python earlier than 3.10. But yeah, they've kind of modified the code, but in a way that feels unnecessary. I feel like 3.9 would be possible. All they've got to do is, from dunder future import annotations, that kind of thing. But anyway, so first things first, I guess I want to let out type. What was it? XDG base bits. XDG. Good. And want to go with that. And now we're going to say we're only doing Python 3.10 or better, which doesn't matter that much. Just in so much as that's a runtime thing. It's not. If I was developing a library here, an actual library, I'd much prefer to try and support all currently supported versions of Python. But with an application that's getting installed with pipex or Homebrew or something like that, I don't care quite so much. Right, I'm going to basically do a bit of copying and pasting here now, follow a model I generally use with my textual apps. Let's have a look in do so basically kind of want to follow that pattern. So some stuff, no point in typing if I don't need to, and it's not config directory I want actually. In fact, it's not config home I want, is it? It's data home. That's what I care about. And yeah. So that should do it. Okay. Right, so I have somewhere to put my data. It's going to be using the XDG standard. And it's one of those times where I'm going to borrow the actual doc string, I guess. And yeah, it's one of those few times where I have a function that is sort of designed to only get information, but it actually has a side effect. And the side effect being, if the directory where I want to store the data doesn't exist, it'll create the directory. it's questionable whether that's a good idea, but it's one of those times where it's actually a good pragmatic approach, I'd say. Right, I got somewhere to put stuff. Now what? Now I should put stuff. I'm kind of wondering. I think what I might do is. Same thing. So yeah, I'll have a separate directory for conversations under there. To start with, I'm only going to save the one conversation, but my thinking is at some point I want multiple conversations, so I should allow for that. That would be sensible. That would be sensible. Okay. I think that's fine. That makes sense. So I want to have a way of saying in the conversations directory. I think to start off with, yeah, I was just wondering, should I have a function in here whereby I can get it to generate a name or something like that. But to start with, I'll just have a kind of hard-coded name. Because I'm thinking, yeah, at some point in the future I'm going to want to be able to have multiple ones, so they'll want different names. I'll probably have a auto-generated name, use the UUID or something like that, and then in there I'll actually store, the title and this and that and the other. Who knows? So what I'm doing here is probably going to end up being mildly incompatible with whatever I do in the future, but it doesn't matter really. No one else is going to be using this, I imagine. I'll see. Maybe I should think about that. Right, so the main thing is, and all of the work in here, all of the code in here, I will abstract out at some point and put it in its own thing. It's just black doing its thing. So, every time there's a change, every time a bit of the conversation has happened, I basically want to save it. I mean, ultimately, I probably don't want to do it the way I'm going to do it here, because you don't want it kind of potentially stacking up kind of thing. But as an initial proof, there's a lot of just doodling here. Right, let's basically dump stuff in there. Like that. I'm going to want path lib as well, or am I? Probably not. So my thinking is, and as I say, this isn't going to be an efficient way of doing things. This isn't going to be the ideal way of doing things. This is just a initial proof of concept kind of thing. To import saves me typing if I do it that way. So I basically want to turn the conversation. I have the conversation anyway. I realised as well a little earlier I was talking about having the raw text being in a position to pull it back. Now I think about it, I probably won't use that. I'll probably use this internal structure, which is the actual conversation that's taking place with the messages that are going backwards and forwards via Ollama. But the actual raw text is still going to be useful, because it's my intention that it doesn't do it at the moment, but you'll be able to scroll back through. I mean, you can scroll back through the conversation, but what you can't do is highlight parts of the conversation, because I'm thinking it would be useful to go back to a particular thing, a particular answer or something like that, and maybe hit copy to clipboard, have a little button or something like that allows you to copy that thing to the clipboard. So having the raw text stored with each of the things in the user interface is potentially useful anyway. First things first then, let's see what happens if we do right text, there we go. I knew I could remember. That seems too simple. I mean, I want it to be that simple. It should be that simple. Let's see what happens. Waiting for the reply. Well, it didn't blow up. It didn't blow up. Oh, for pity's sake. Hey! Okay, but that's just the answer, isn't it? Am I not putting my questions into the conversation? Did I miss that part? I did. I haven't been. I think I've been putting my questions into the. So, building up the conversation and sending it back when I ask a thing again. I think I've been forgetting to do that. That's hilarious. That's hilarious. I think I just want to do this. That looks more like it. Okay, you don't have to show off. Just answer the damn question. Right, didn't blow up. Yay, there we go. That's more like it. So yeah, so far I've been actually failing to send it the questions back whenever I ask it a subsequent question. I've been sending its answers back, but not giving it back the questions that have been asked. That might explain a couple of things. I had a. Let's see if it'll do it now. So I did something like this. I think it was yesterday. I asked it to write a particular Python version of a function, and then asked it to do it in Dylan, and it started going on about Bob Dylan. I think it's done it. It's trying to do it again. Actually, probably not even Bob Dylan. It's probably channeling Thomas Dylan or something like that now, right? I have actually got it to write some Dylan as well. That's not Dylan. It's a moment since I've actually written any myself. Fairly sure that's not. Damn. Got scroll bars. I got rid of the scroll bars, but of course it's put in a horizontal scroll bar. I also feel that hard coding Pi is cheating slightly. Bless you. Bless your little LM heart. Refuse to say AI. Surely you can do a bit of Dylan. Please note that Dylan is an old language and may not be compatible with modern systems. It's not that old. It's not as that. None of this looks like Dylan code that I ever remember tinkering with. That's so weird. Yeah, I think it's just making stuff up here, which is no surprise. Anyway, that's not the point of this. point is I should have, yeah, lots and lots and lots of conversation. I am thinking it might be at some point, yeah, what I'm storing here is just the rawest of data that I'm then intending to send back, ideally. Actually, I am going to need to... I was going to say, I should probably compress this down. But I'm going to, at some point, but I'm actually going to need to do that now, really, aren't I? Because I actually want... I want the conversation to be loaded back into the display. And actually loading it back up piecemeal like this would be really rubbish. That wouldn't make much sense at all, would it? So maybe it does make sense to go through the whole thing and load it up. Yeah, save the whole blocks, as it were, so I can load them back in again. Probably makes sense. Let's think about this. Okay. Could I do this in a... No, I think I'm going to have to... yeah. What am I going to do? What am I going to do? Something like this, I think. No, it's a user or a agent. And there. So roughly that. Kind of roughly that. So basically going through all the children in the vertical scroll that I've got going and just pulling out each of the user responses and the agent responses and just saving what type they are and their raw text. That feels reasonably reasonable. That's actually the more sensible way of doing it. There we go. That's kind of more what I was after. That's more what I was after. That makes sense. Yeah, because that makes it easier for me to build back up what was the words, what's going on. Think. What's the other role? I could probably actually, just thinking what I probably should do actually is do this. Something more like that, actually, maybe. Just want to know what is the gonna do my usual notify debug. It's just, oh, damn it. Assistant. The role is assistant. Right, I'm going to call it agent, but it's actually assistant. Do a quick and dirty thing for the moment. Should roughly do the job. Should roughly do the job. Okay, I'm going to go with that for a moment. kind of want a common interface for those, for the outputs now, really. Probably deserves a protocol or something like that at some point. But, like I say, this is just doodling. So that will save things. So I basically want to load up now. Do I have an on mount? I don't actually have an on mount. Which is cool. So, oh, that's interesting. Why did you get confused? That is interesting. Let's just do it quick and dirty for the moment. So, not if it not exists. Well, actually, yeah, that is what I wanted. Rather than do everything inside a big if. And I'm hand waving away any amount of error checking and stuff like that at the moment. That'll follow. This is just getting the proof of concept going. So that should get me my... oh no, I just realised what I want to get rid of. That notify is going to get really annoying. So should be able to load the conversation back in, and then I want to go. What do I want to do? I want to go for. This is going to be dodgy, but let's do it. Oops, didn't mean that. What did I say it was called? Roll. It is just roll, isn't it? This is the Lisp programmer in me coming out. All the brackets. What was it doing? Content. So then I want to got it. gross. I love it. What's the chances of that working? Not bad, apart from they need to go in before the input. Hey! I wonder if... how can I even test if this worked? Oh! All I've done is I've just loaded up the conversation, but I haven't actually loaded it into the conversation that's been had. So I need to do that still. But that's roughly it. That's roughly it. There we go. Got it down to a one-liner. I'm not proud. Okay, so. Oh, stomach's rumbling. Ready for an early dinner. It's only 3:30. Oh my god. Oh, hang on. I just realised what I did wrong. I didn't need to do that. What an idiot. Didn't need to mount it before something. I'm mounting it in the wrong damn place. That's what I should be doing. That's more like it. Now it's not going to know what I'm saying or asking for because I haven't actually... Yeah. Oh my goodness, I don't know if that's picked up on microphone, but I don't have an upset child outside. Right, so that's loaded it into the display. All that's left is... I think... Oh, now's the Caroline. There we go. I think I do want that back. Just want it to use it twice. Because then I want to do... Oh, I think I can just do that. In which case I can simplify that a little bit. Hey, there we go. So now it's remembering the conversation. I'm not even paying any attention to if if any of this code is correct. I'm not even sure it's actually answered the question I really asked it to do, because I asked it to write a function to calculate pi at 30 decimal places, but it's actually using the format in there. Right, so if I then Control C out, come back in, should be back, which is cool, and then I want to go hey, okay, yeah, so it remembered what I was saying, or rather, I helped it remember what we'd spoken about before. So I now turned it into an ever-growing document of a conversation. Not the tidiest of code, but it'll work. So don't need you, don't need you. And you can go, oops. There's a quick hack. That's not too horrific. That's not too horrific at all. So yeah, there's a whole bunch of error checking and all that kind of stuff should go around this and the like. Okay. I'll do for now. It's just going to be, oh, what are you? Spell. There we go. Right, so we will remember the conversations. Suppose the thing now is it would be nice to have a little command for resetting. So what I should do is, again, I'm going to break some of this stuff out at some point, but I'm just chucking stuff in here as a handy way of testing things. I'm going to empty that out anyway, and then I'm going to go I can never remember if it starts with or begins with. Did I spell it right? Ooh. I really do need to have some something to eat soon. What I should do is actually wrong language. Right, I'm just going to do some simple stuff at the moment. Not quit. Just going to say new. And it's going to be I need that to be async, thinking about it. Literally that. No. I'll do for a moment. Oh, need to scroll to the bottom. Need to scroll to the bottom. Can't remember what it is. There we go. Scroll end. Oh. Oh. Ah. Ooh. Ah. Shades of conversations on Discord yesterday. Oh, I can spell away. I suspect I need to update Textual actually. So it's a bug fix. Ah, no. Oh, come on. There's the latest version. Is that the latest version? Must be the latest version. Yes, it is. Okay. Ha. Ha. Okay, we'll try the usual hack. Oops. Oh, for goodness sake. Why aren't you scrolling to the end? That's interesting. definitely awaiting the mount all, and then I'm delaying the actual scroll end. Try something really crazy. Just wait a moment and scroll the end. It's definitely it. So I will definitely scroll the end. Also, I don't want the animation. Animate. So you could pass parameters to oh no, you can only give it callback. Ah, okay. Ah! Just shut down my Ollama backend. Nobody wants to shut down Ollama's backend. Right, that kind of does it. It's a bit rubbish, but that kind of does it. I might have to look into that. It's kind of weird. I would have thought that would have worked. Just pondering what that would be. So it feels like that should be fine. Oh, I've done it again. I keep alt-tabbing into a right. I keep alt-tabbing into my terminal window, but then I keep, because I've got multiple terminal windows open, multiple Kitty windows open. It keeps going to the first one, which is the one that I was running Ollama in. There we go. I won't do that accidentally now. Hopefully. What was I doing? I was doing that. Yeah, it's definitely not scrolling to the end. I have to look into that. Because I feel that should work. I feel that should work. Let's make it faster. It's hardly noticeable. Just checking. I couldn't remember if there was a scroll at the end. I think when saying scroll at the end after you mounted a bunch of stuff. Actually curious now. What about I realise there's a lot of querying of the same thing going on here, but this is just for testing purposes. This shouldn't make any difference. And it doesn't. That's okay. I just wanted to be sure that didn't make any difference. I have a funny feeling I'm missing something here. This feels like a thing. I feel I'm missing something. Definitely feel I'm missing something. So what I was testing was, yay! There we go. Okay, cool. It doesn't remember what we were talking about. Let's just check. I wonder if that's really a library. Whether it's just made that up. Ew, that's really badly formatted code. Like, yikes. Cool. So close that down. Okay, yeah, that's roughly working. Oh, I'm getting an error. Am I still streaming? Just going to check. Oh, I'm getting an error. Am I still streaming? Okay, I'm apparently still online. I was getting a... Just going to have a look at YouTube Studio. It thinks I got a problem. YouTube is not receiving enough video to maintain smooth streaming. I feel like... Yeah, it actually feels like it's pretty poor for some reason. That's weird. Let's see how that goes. Just going to check again. So it looked okay. And I do have a fast connection and I'm nice and, yeah, wired in. That's weird. Yeah, looks okay. Not going to worry about it too much. Right, anyway. Where was I at? Because I feel like that's enough. Pretty much enough doodling. what I did want to do, oh yeah, I want to stage that bit. What did you just decide? It's not letting me commit that. Why are you not letting me commit that? I just wanted to pull this bit out. Basically, I want those bits there. Stage those because they're a change in their own right. No, it's not letting me do that. That's annoying. Why not? I think I just realised. It's because a bit of the code isn't quite as formatted as it would like. It's probably failing on that line there. But it's not refreshing with the formatted code, probably because I've got unstashed changes. That'll be why. I'll go through with that this time. Yeah, it was that. I wanted to reformat that. Right. And there was one last thing I wanted to do, which was quite why I put it in backticks, I don't know. Okay. I kind of feel like that might be nice. Yeah, something like that stands out a little bit more. I think what I will do at some point is, add a help or something like that kind of thing. But that will do for the moment. Okay, so that's sort of very roughly what I want to do. As I say, today's little session was just about doodling with this and getting a feel for how I want to do things. Ultimately, I'm not going to be hard coding the actual file name. What I'd like to do is turn it into a, you have multiple saved conversations, switch between them, the usual kind of fare that you get with these kinds of clients. As I've said numerous times now, I am not too fussed about trying to turn this into a fully featured thing or anything like that. I really don't care to, because there are so many better approaches to this. There are so many better clients out there for this kind of thing. This is going to be something I'm literally building for my own consumption and my own amusement as well. It'll probably end up withering in terms of things that I do with it and things I support, but it's a fun thing to toy with, at least. And I feel like I'm actually properly and fully using my M2 Pro chip in my Mac as well. Yeah, I think that's enough for me now. So yeah, I'm going to leave it there. So that was a good little session. Just to recap, as I said, was aiming to do. It's literally a case of just add a little bit of persistence for the conversation that was taking place with this little simple client I've done for mucking about with Ollama. I will probably look at doing things at some point in the future for, as I said, switching between installed models and all that kind of stuff and everything. There's a lot of things to explore. The actual library I'm using, in fact, let me just go back for a second. The actual library I'm using, can I find it? Is that the one? Yeah, that's the one. It has a reasonably decent AI. You can create your own models and copy them and blah 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 and delete them and stuff like that. Pull new ones down. It's not something I've really dived into in terms of properly comprehending what's going on and the hows and whys and wherefores of how you like. At the moment, I actually don't know what an embedding is. I'm guessing it's a way of stating some facts or something like that can be, I don't know, is the honest answer. I'll dive into that kind of thing at some point. At the moment, as I say, it was just a case of this library existed and I wanted to wrap a simple little terminal-based user interface around it and have some fun while I've got some free time to kill, because if everything goes according to plan, I've got about a week and a half left of my time is my own time, and then I'll be diving into some new challenges. Hopefully. All the paperwork's pretty much done and things like that. So, I'll probably muck about with this a little bit. That's my thinking anyway. That's my idea. But I'm going to leave it there. Feeling a little bit tired and a little bit thirsty and a little bit hungry. Still, it's about, what is it? Yeah, no, it's just gone 4. Go and do a wee bit of housework. Well, I'll have a drink first, and then do a wee bit of housework, and then get some dinner on. And then I think I might be back streaming tonight, but it won't be this. It'll be blowing stuff up in Los Santos, because I'm still enjoying a slow, fun playthrough of GTA 5's main story for like the 4th time ever. Maybe 5th, I can't remember. But yeah, I'm having some fun doing that as well. I'm currently trying to decide what I'm going to play afterwards. I think, shockingly, surprisingly, no one could have seen it coming, but I may, once I finish this, move on to Fallout 4, just because there's been the TV show, obviously, which was exceptionally good, and the next-gen refresh of it came out for consoles came out. Was it yesterday or today? Actually, I think it's today, isn't it? And I've never played Fallout 4 all the way through. I started playing it back when it came out, and then stuff happened, life happened, that kind of thing. I never got around to finishing it, and that was on PC. So I'm going to have another crack at it, I think, is my plan. I don't remember hating it. I don't remember loving it either, but I don't remember hating it. So, maybe I'll enjoy it this time. Oh, and what's the day today? Is that, yes, for anyone who cares, for anyone who celebrates, happy Alien Day as well. I just realised it's Alien Day. And if you don't know why, we probably can't be friends, really. Anyway, I'm going to go. So for anyone who is, I can see there is at least one person watching, I believe. For anyone who is still looking over my shoulder, thanks for listening to me prattle on while I just experiment with some code and everything. And if anyone watches this recording at some point in the future, thanks for watching that as well. And goodbye.